Welcome to the explainer. You've done the really hard part. You've gathered all the data, run your analysis, written the paper, but now you've got this massive decision that dictates exactly who gets to read your work and, honestly, how soon. Today, we're navigating the open access color palette. Yeah, the publishing world has wonderfully, and sometimes kind of perplexingly, color-coded the options for us. So, let's figure this out.
To keep us on track, here's our agenda. Number 1, the open access choices. 2, going green, self-archiving. 3, the gold standard. 4, bronze and diamond models. 5, the hybrid trap. And finally, number 6, funder requirements.
All right, Section 1, the open access choices. Let's get right into it. So, the big question: which open access route should you actually choose for your research? Look, this isn't something you can just leave until the very last minute. Actually, when you're first setting up your research, your data management plan is probably going to demand that you figure this out early. You really need to outline exactly what's going to happen to your research, how it'll be managed, and, crucially, whether and exactly how it's going to be made open access. Let's look at the first major option on the table. Section 2, going green, self-archiving. Okay, so green open access is really all about self-archiving. And the cool thing here is that this route complements rather than completely replaces your existing publishing process. You still go right ahead and publish in that traditional subscription-based journal. But on top of that, you, the author, take a version of your paper, usually the peer-reviewed accepted manuscript before the publisher adds all their final fancy formatting and logos, and you deposit it into a repository. Say you're at IADT, for instance, that would be your institutional repository, Illustro. It's just a fantastic way to make sure your work is out there without disrupting your normal publishing habits. But, there are a few rules. Right. So there's a bit of a catch with the green route. You are entirely beholden to the publisher's copyright policy. You literally can't just upload your paper whenever you feel like it. You should always use a service like JISC to check the specific self-archiving policies of your publisher. And here's the really big one: embargoes. An embargo period might actually keep your self-archived work locked up and completely inaccessible to the public for anywhere from, say, 6 months to maybe even 2 years after publication. Then, once that embargo finally lifts, you've got to make sure there's a clear link from your repository version right back to the official published version. So yeah, it requires a bit of admin on your part, but hey, it costs you absolutely nothing out of pocket.
Moving on to Section 3, the gold standard.
Now, gold open access is pretty much the ultimate instant gratification for both the researcher and the reader. This means making your articles openly accessible immediately, at the exact point of publication. Notice the absolute key phrase there: completely without an embargo period. The literal second your paper is published, anyone in the world with an internet connection can read it, download it, cite it, no waiting around, no locked doors. So let's break down how this actually plays out in practice. Let's see how this builds from start to finish. The first 2 steps look perfectly normal, right? You submit your article, and it undergoes that rigorous, traditional peer review process. Quality is absolutely not sacrificed for access here. But step 3 is where the path totally diverges. Upon acceptance, instead of a library paying a subscription to house the journal, the author pays a one-off fee called an article processing charge, or APC for short. And once that's settled, boom, we hit step 4. Your article is freely available to the entire world the very moment it hits publication. But I bet that third step caught your attention. You're probably wondering about that fee. Yep, the sticker shock is very real. The average article processing charge for gold open access is sitting around €2,000 per paper. Now, if you're an independent researcher, that number looks terrifying. No way around it. But take a breath. In the vast majority of cases, these fees are not coming out of your own personal bank account. They're usually covered by research grants, funding agencies, or your parent institution. It's really a fundamental shift in the economic model of publishing, paying to publish rather than paying to read. Let's jump in to Section 4, bronze and diamond models. So these 2 models sound kind of similar, but they operate in totally different universes. First off, we have bronze open access. This is when a publisher makes an article free to read on their website. I mean, think of all those COVID-19 research papers that were suddenly made free during the pandemic. It's great for reading, for sure, but it has a massive catch. It lacks a Creative Commons license. That means you cannot reuse it and you cannot deposit it into your institutional repository. You are essentially just a guest on the publisher's property. Conversely, we have diamond, sometimes called platinum open access. Now, this is the utopian ideal for a lot of academics. It is completely free for authors to publish, meaning zero APCs to stress about, and it is completely free for readers. So how on earth does it survive? Well, it's usually run by small societies, academic institutions, or collaborative community agreements. Think along the lines of the Open Library of Humanities or Edinburgh Diamond. It's basically academia taking publishing back into its own hands.
Okay, Section 5, the hybrid trap.
Now, there is a really strong warning from our source material regarding hybrid open access. To quote them directly, in effect, the journal is getting paid twice under this model. So here is how the mechanics of that actually work. A journal operates fundamentally as a traditional subscription-based journal, but they offer you the option to make your specific article open access by paying an APC. Publishers absolutely love to call this gold open access, but critics, they tend to call it paid open access. And why is that? Because you, the author, are paying a hefty fee to publish your paper openly, while libraries and universities all over the world are still paying massive subscription fees to access the rest of the journal. It is by far the most expensive option in the entire ecosystem, effectively allowing publishers to double dip on their revenue.
Bringing us to Section 6, funder requirements. Here's the thing. All major Irish and European funders now mandate some form of open access for the research they fund. If you're getting money from Science Foundation Ireland, the Irish Research Council, the Health Research Board, or the EPA, you absolutely must comply. And if we zoom out to Europe, giants like Horizon Europe 2027 and the European Research Council have fully cemented open science into their core rules. You really can't just publish behind a paywall and call it a day anymore. They are demanding transparency, and they expect you to know exactly which route, whether that's green, gold, or diamond, you're going to use to deliver it. And again, just as a quick reminder, you can always use the JISC service to query exactly what your specific funder requires before you submit your manuscript. Okay, to wrap up this explainer, let's summarize the entire color wheel. With green, authors don't pay. Readers pay for the journal subscription, and yes, you might face an embargo. Gold, you pay the APC, the reader pays nothing, and there is zero embargo. Bronze, no one pays to publish or read, but embargoes can sneak up on you, and you have absolutely no reuse rights. Diamond, the holy grail, right? No one pays, no embargoes. And finally, hybrid. You pay the APC, the reader's library still pays the subscription, and there's no embargo. By understanding this matrix, you're really taking control of the impact and the reach of your hard work. You've seen the colors, the costs, and the catches. So which route will you negotiate for your next big discovery?